The Bitcoin Group, the American original. For over the last 10 seconds, the sharpest Satoshis, the best Bitcoins, the hardest cryptocurrency talk. We'd like to welcome our panelists, Rodolfo and Dranius from La BitConf.
How are you doing, Tom? Thank you for having me here.
Apparently I'm out of focus. And let's change the thing here. Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. And I'm Thomas Hunt from the World Crypto Network. Moving on to issue one. Issue one, Senate votes to move ahead on $1 trillion bipartisan infrastructure deal. The deal has only passed the Senate with a chance for amendments to continue through the legislative process. It remains to be seen if any amendments will be agreed to, since they will be subjected to a 60-vote threshold. The bill text has not been formally unveiled, and amendments are expected not to be considered until Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer offers up the finalized deal as a substitute amendment, which could happen at some point later Friday afternoon. But what does this have to do with Bitcoin? According to Jake Chervinsky, lawyer, but not yours, on Twitter, GC at Compound Finance, strategic advisor to Variant Fund, DeFi chair at Blockchain Association, a maximalist whose tweets are not legal or financial advice, has informed us of a major part of the U.S. infrastructure deal. A new provision has been added that expands the U.S. tax code's definition of broker to capture nearly everyone in crypto, including non-custodial actors like miners, forcing them to KYC all users. This is not a drill. As Chervinsky continues, the bill expands upon the definition of a broker to include any person who, for consideration, is responsible for and regularly provides any service effectuating transfers of digital assets. Earlier drafts said, even if non-custodial, and explicitly included DEX and P2P markets. This definition is so broad, it could literally apply to every economic actor in the US crypto industry. That includes proof-of-work miners and proof-of-stake validators, since providing a service to effectuate transfers of digital assets for consideration seems to fit both. It might include a huge range of DeFi market participants too, like DEX LPs, liquidators, protocol governors, etc. Depending on what for consideration means, it might also extend to non-economic actors like node operators or wallet developers. The scope here could be massive. Now, why is this happening? It says that additionally, the tax code requires brokers to comply with IRS reporting requirements, filling out Form 1099 forms. So this is a major form problem. They'd have to KYC everyone. We're skipping ahead. This sounds insane, but it's quite happening. What does this crypto law have to do with infrastructure? Skipping down to Jake's point number 9. The bill has to include pay-for provisions to raise revenue for the new spending so that it's revenue neutral as a whole. The broker definition is one of the pay-for provisions in the Senate draft of the bill. There are 3 main ways to raise revenue in a bill like this: increase current taxes, add new taxes, or improve tax compliance. This allegedly falls in the 3rd category, making people pay taxes they already owe. Congress thinks crypto is full of tax evaders. Parentheses, Jake says it isn't. The infrastructure bill is estimated to cost $1 trillion. Congress scored the new broker definition at an added $28 billion in tax revenue. Jake says he has no clue how they got this number or how it's even possible to calculate. Regardless, this is no way to handle major new regulations. This is a deeply misguided provision that, if adopted, will do far more harm than good to U.S. interests. Rodolfo, your thoughts on the new U.S. Senate infrastructure bill and their potential changing of the broker definition to include miners, node operators, decentralized exchange operators, and much, much more, maybe even proof of stake, proof of work, everything. Has the government finally come for crypto?
It looks like we are on the then they fight and then we win. No, it's like I think these things should be expected from anyone in the crypto space to government be more aggressive, non-aggressive against Bitcoin, aggressive against some kind of use done to Bitcoin, no? Because at the beginning I thought they will be against Bitcoin as a currency and a deflationary and against the US dollar. It seems that it's not like that, but they are trying to put the tail to each to each user of the space. No, I think it's very aggressive. I think it might raise big concerns among the players in US. Also, me as a Latin American person, yeah. US is just one of the 197 countries in the world. Though these kind of bills are being also promoted actively in Europe. Now in Europe, they're also discussing this about putting names to each player in the middle. I'm highly concerned about how you solve these expectations on the decentralized protocols. Yes, I'm so glad Bitcoin is nameless, and nameless in the sense of you can't push anyone to do anything. Yes, sometimes some decentralized protocols there is anyway someone who leads the development or the existence of it. No, beyond being open source, it's like if you push someone, then the protocol will also change. I think Bitcoin is a bit in the safe place there. Yes, I don't think that the BIP will be added into the Bitcoin protocol to make it more transparent and stuff like that. I even think it will go more towards privacy than transparency. But on the second layer or on the business layer, this is obviously an imperative element for them to fulfill. So I guess that some companies will be, several will be affected. I'm concerned about the nodes, yes, though who has a node, who is the owner of the node. It's like, sometimes you do laws that are inapplicable. I mean, you can't execute them. It's just the law, no? But then make them be real and be harsh to the ones who goes against. It's like nonsense. It's, at least I said you should have, but who knows who is behind. So I don't know. I think it's something to keep watching from a near, to keep having a near eye on it. Also, this is what some guy is saying. No, we need to, I always learn not to take one's approach as the real approach. Yes. I think it needs to be more well understood by other players also. No?
I think you make an excellent point that this is definitely going to direct the programmers towards privacy as one of their goals for Bitcoin when they see something like this happen and they see the potential problems this could cause. Everyone talked before when the Trump administration was on their way out about Steve Mnuchin and how he was going to do a similar thing. The main thing that keeps coming back in these bills is they want to create a surveillance environment for crypto where they can start gathering data so then they can start busting people. So they keep coming back to that over and over again, which, like Rodolfo said, is going to drive the programmers to change the Bitcoin, to change the crypto, and to remove this surveillance ability in the future. Of course, in the present, this is bad for Bitcoin. This could cause US miners to move out of the United States. We just got them out of Canada. Now we might get them out of the United States. This might be the way they ultimately kill Bitcoin, driving it to the corners, to the edges, but it might not actually kill the network. The network might actually survive, which would be an even bigger affront to the people that are trying to do this to Bitcoin. This could also be bad as technology companies and smart people, universities, other people start moving out of the US if they're just going to arbitrarily decide stuff like this to get money. Instead of raising taxes, they just want to raise money, like the article said, with that third rail. You don't raise taxes, you don't have new taxes, you just adjust the dials until you raise more funds. So I'm against that. Rodolfo, exit question. Is this worse for altcoins, especially altcoins whose funders and founders have addresses, can easily be looked up? Is this worse for decentralized exchanges, the new DeFi people, or is this worst for Bitcoin? Who takes it the worst if this passes?
I think it's the ecosystem in general. I think obviously DeFi, I mean, DeFi they have other reasons also to go against DeFi. And I think it's almost to all the ecosystem. It's like I know the word in Spanish, cimbronazo, but it's like a shake, yes, in general. But, you know, I have an additional concern. We all, I guess, we all love Saylor. Yes, we are all like, he speaks very well. He's very well intended. He's great, yes. But, and I do really appreciate him, but there is this discussion about privacy, yes, that is something that should also be addressed when you're talking from an institutional investor, no? Which is different from Bitcoiners, which are not institutional investors. What do I mean with this? This Michael Saylor has 100,000 Bitcoins, yes? They're all white labeled Bitcoins, very nicely Bitcoins. Why would he care about privacy into the Bitcoin? Yes. Why should he be an active promoter about, yes, let's fight also for privacy into this? Why should Grayscale fight for that? Yes, they have 600,000 Bitcoins stored. Yes. So this is, I think privacy will be the core. I don't think it will be the discussion from everyone. And I might even see that privacy against scarcity, yes, it's not against, but scarcity is okay. Privacy, yeah, but yes, eventually some don't need that kind of privacy. Yes, so I think this might become like not only the thing programmers will move into, but the big main future discussion, yes, about Bitcoin's evolution. How much privacy into this? Taproot, I've been fairly surprised about how Taproot was by the 90% of the miners, yes, vote in. And Taproot is like a first step towards higher privacy into Bitcoin. And Must is a second very big step into privacy into Bitcoin. It's always opt-in. You don't need to do all tap transactions, not all Must transactions, but it's like an opt-in. I think that opt-in will be relevant, but we might start seeing white and black. No? And this makes white more valuable than black, black more valuable than white. I don't know, but Bitcoins are 21 million. Though fungibility in Bitcoin, it's a way of seeing it. They're not so fungible when you know the history of the Bitcoin, no? So I think that this white, black, this is something that will start occurring in the very near future as big discussions. The next big discussion into the Bitcoin will be privacy. Not because as Bitcoiners, we would all say privacy is okay, because not all players are so expected about this privacy concern. And now Tom left the scene, so I guess I should just keep on this concept. But I really think if this could occur if privacy becomes like the main discussion. We might be discussing also about a future fork or something like that, no? Among the ones who are really active into this and non-active into the privacy. So I don't know how much you heard, Tom, but
well, I do think you're right that privacy is going to be the next issue for Bitcoin. And this might actually cause some separation between us and our newfound business friends, like you said, Saylor and Jack Dorsey, some of these other people, because they might not want the upgrades that the programmers deliver.
And we put all our hopes into these players because we all need to get hopes from where we can. Yes. But let's understand that they have also their own reasons to be in here, and we are not all the same in this space, and not everyone supports. Actually, not even you and me. Yes, because your concerns about privacy might be different than mine concerns about privacy. In Argentina, my concern about privacy is not paying taxes. It's not being abused by the government later, yes, about willing them to taking my Bitcoins from me eventually, or not being harassed or hijacked, I don't know how to say in English, like at a gunpoint, yes, by people, because in my country they tell others who has Bitcoins and they go against you. So concerns about privacy, yes, it's not even the same for everyone. And Bitcoin is like a plural, open space for hundreds of thousands of players. Yes, and my main concern, I guess they are not discussing this, but watch it in this way. Yes, 21 million Bitcoins, okay. Some of them highly white, some of them don't. If you're on the white side, would you like to promote that instead of 21 million, it's our 5 million of whites, the one that can be moved and get much more value if we also create this white and black situation? I mean, big concerns on this issue.
Oh, I thought we'd just be friends forever. But we were talking in the chat earlier this week with Martin, and he was talking about how once he used to live on an island. And at first he thought it was going to be great, you know, and you'd be all private and all off by yourself. But pretty soon he realized that the only way on or off the island was the boat or the plane, and that the government, you know, whichever one it was watching the boat and watching the plane. And pretty soon you realize that maybe it's not so good to be on an island. We might find out more about this with Bitcoin privacy. My answer here, I would say that, yeah, it's bad for the altcoins. I think it's worse for the altcoins than for Bitcoin. I think it's bad for people that have addresses like Michael Saylor or Vitalik Buterin. Their companies, their altcoins, the way they did business are going to be analyzed once again. And especially if there's anything back there that they could find that they could tax, maybe they'll adjust the way they saw the Ethereum IPO or something like that. So bad for them. Bitcoin survives. And again, this isn't concrete, but it is important to know, like the author said, like Jake said in his post, it's just about the revenue. They everyone's like, they're after our freedom. The government's here, blah, blah, blah. No, this was just a line item about revenue. They just want that 28 billion. I agree with the guy. I don't know where they got the numbers that all of the tax cheats in Bitcoin are worth 28 billion and they're going to fund your infrastructure bill. But that's what they need, just for the numbers, just for the bill, so that it says that it's revenue neutral. What actually happens in the real world, everyone knows nothing is revenue neutral, but we are just a pawn in a larger game. So don't expect it to be mentioned in the papers. Everyone's like, this will be news everywhere. No, this is a Bitcoin news. And I agree with the articles. If you want to contact your senators, if you want to contact your people, that's probably the best thing you can do. It would let them know that you think this is a ridiculous law. They don't know how stupid it sounds. They're just doing the math and assuming that they're going to make all the revenue, and they don't have to raise taxes or have new taxes, which, as we know, is political suicide these days. Moving on to issue 2, from cash to Bitcoin. Are we heading towards a cryptocurrency future? Well, we've been talking about this for years, about the importance of cash versus Bitcoin, how cash is an ability for people to spend money, which they're trying to tighten up. Bitcoin is a people to spend money as pseudo-anonymous, but cash is truly anonymous. Will Bitcoin finally eliminate cash? Normally, I would say no, but I think we're getting closer now than we were before, and I'm still not sure it's a good thing. I do think that the Lightning Network is more anonymous than Bitcoin, but it's still pseudo-anonymous. Cash, say what you will about it, it's really anonymous. You know, I got money from the ATM. I gave it to the guy to pick up my junk from the front yard. Junk is gone. Cash is gone. The deal is over. I have no idea who that guy was. I can't go back years later and show a record of it. Much worse, a digital record in a database with hundreds of other records, as Rodolfo was talking about. Michael Saylor and other people are hoarding these white label, these fresh Bitcoins, come direct from the miner, never been sent around, never dirty like the cash. We all know that story from Washington, D.C. about how, I don't know, 1 in every 10 bill had cocaine on it, blah, blah, blah. And also how dirty money is, just filthy and physically dirty. Now think about that if you had it in a database. You could tell who had the cocaine at every level. You could tell who had the dirty hands. You could tell who had the donut that morning. You can get an incredible amount of money, or sorry, incredible amount of information, or practically the same thing, when you have a database, when I can line up your cash transactions with your credit, with your movement, with all the other information I can get about you. So getting rid of cash, while it sounds good and technological, and all the iPhones have little wallets on them now, so you don't need to carry around your wallet and all those annoying old-fashioned bills. We should keep an eye on cash and think about what we're losing, what we're giving up. It was a very private medium. Rodolfo, your thoughts on Bitcoin versus cash?
Yes, we go back to privacy. This is again the discussion on privacy. Yes, it's not. I think that Bitcoin does hold most of the cash properties, but not the 100% privacy and none. It's not about recording. It's about how much you can watch about what's being recorded. No, because again, if you sort of do transactions via Lightning Network, yes, most of them won't go finally to the well, most of them, no. Any Lightning Network transaction will finally be in the Bitcoin network. Yes, they will occur all on offsite nodes, and eventually those recordings of the nodes are individual. They are not like open and shareable. So I guess that Bitcoin does have the quality of being one of the good things of cash is the physical aspect. And the only thing in this physical aspect, the only relevant aspect of physical things is that they can't be in the same place at the same time. Yes, two different elements in the same place at the same time. And Bitcoin created this scarcity, because it's not only scarcity, it's scarcity, but this asset that can be twice spent, twice the same. So it's like as every Satoshi is as unique as one currency bill. Yes. So this is one of the things that digital money is not. We all know this is not news for anyone listening this, but this is one of the things. It's just like having currencies. Just when you give me $100, the only way of getting it back is menacing you and telling me, give it to me, or stealing your wallet. But it's not like digital currency. Yes. So, but it has history. I think that as long as we move on, history, we are seeing it in Lightning Network, but eventually Stabs and Mass and others, yes, solutions, we will start seeing less history into the Bitcoin transactions. If this comes with also a support from the whole ecosystem, where we have forks, or I don't know, this is the other discussion we had before. But I think this is something that will occur, and Bitcoin will be at the same level than cash eventually, also on that aspect, with the benefits of being digital, which you can't have, because you said the guy who is moving my loan or taking out the garbage, yes? But now you could be talking about that guy in Europe, you being in US, no? Giving him the cash that has no trails. So I think it's like, okay, this and that, but we will move into a more non-traceable solutions, yes. Though the big ones, Zcash and others, can be discussed if they are or they are not, Monero, Zcash, they were not as successful as, or they didn't find the same use case and use acceptance that others, no? But I think we will move into more private, eventually, transactions. Also, this being said, the article that you was discussing today, or I was shared for this talk, it talked about what's happening in Salvador or what's happening in other places. Yes, and you can see I was sharing with you earlier today, no, that for example in Argentina there is a city called San Martín de los Andes, and I was surprised to listen the other day that one of the companies, Lemon Cash, it's a local company, yes, actively moving now in Latin America, and before becoming this Lemon Cash, they had this project about helping San Martín de los Andes, which is very touristic, yes, to go into crypto payments, and almost 70% of the hotels, restaurants, kiosks, etc., are taking Bitcoin there as a payment. So Lightning Network in the middle also, no? So I mean, it flows. I mean, I see that it could eventually happen. It could eventually be adopted as cash, as long as we solve these other tracing problems.
Yeah, it's interesting the way these are two totally different issues, but everything seems to come back to privacy. I remember when we were trying to solve the scaling problem and everyone was like, what about privacy? And we're like, just let us get scaling under our feet. Let us get a secure foundation to build upon, and then we'll go to privacy. But who knew the shift would happen so fast when suddenly just the Senate's after us, the cash people are after us. But if we had that privacy, we could change this. We could turn it all around.
The discussion is harder. Yes, scaling, we all need it. We all decide that eventually it's not about it's scaling. I think we all agree we need to scale. Yes, we were discussing if you see the first layer or the second layer. We were discussing if we were doing it now or we do it later once we have do all the compression possible in the actual layer. Yeah. So the scaling was not it was a big debate, but somehow, yes, it was about something that we all agree. It's just about when. Yes. Privacy, we do agree, but in different kind of levels and in different kind of, if you think about second layers and third layers, they're all government somehow influenced. Yes. It's not protocol. It's not the open protocol layer. So on that, when you are talking about that, which makes things to flow and allows you to pay to the final market, allows you, privacy is not as relevant or as important from everyone, or some institutional investors mainly might not be as concerned. So I think this discussion is much harder, much worse than the one we had before. Yes,
I think so. I think you're right. Before, even though we had the disagreement with Bitmain and they might have been making more money on the chips or whatever that muddied the water, I agree. Everyone wanted to scale. Everyone wanted a different plan to scale. With privacy, everyone wants some privacy, but they certainly don't want that total privacy. And this goes back to the foundations of the very idea of digital money. If you remember when they created PayPal, PayPal at first kind of wanted to be like Bitcoin, where they had a token that would go from many computers, and you could run a PayPal wallet on your computer and I could run one on mine. And they quickly figured out that you and I could pay each other for anything we wanted. And while that sounds great, if you look at it from a company perspective, they would be potentially liable for all of those payments. So if we went and paid somebody for something bad, PayPal would be liable. So in that same way, people like Saylor and maybe Jack Dorsey might have to back away from Bitcoin if it becomes too private, and they might use their power to prevent it from becoming too private. So it really is, once again, back to the programmers, back to the users, back to the miners, the groups of Bitcoin, to see where it goes. Let's move on to the exit question. The analog to digital switch was so fast, it feels like it was just a few minutes. We had audio cassettes and record players, CDs, and now MP3s, digital files. How quickly will we switch from analog cash to digital cash, whether it be Bitcoin, Lightning, or something else? 1 year, 3 years, or 5 years? Rodolfo, which direction are you heading? How long do you think it will be?
To really move on? Many years. I don't know, 20, 15. No, not 1, 3, or 10, or 5. Perhaps I didn't get the question straight. You mean totally, globally? In which sense? You mean like going?
I think it could happen fast. I mean, I think something like the Facebook project, if that got off the ground, and if 1 or 2 of these things went forward, and pretty soon everyone's going digital. I mean, because it happens so fast. Even right now, Apple's producing a program that's going to digitize identification cards. So there's a big holdback from the digital wallet idea, because you got to think about the kids today. They don't want to hold around a hunk of cow leather to say I got my money in it. They're not pulling that out. They're phone people. They want it all on the phone.
You might have a different approach than me. Again, that sometimes it happens to me when I'm from another country, yes, from another point of view than American point of views or European points of view. No, I was in US. I was with my brother in US. Yes, I couldn't come back to Argentina when I told you. And I almost never saw my brother spending cash. So tap, 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 tap. They use credit card for almost everything. Ask me in Argentina how much people would tap, tap, tap and pay in credit card. Yes, we do. It's not a poor country. It's like a regular country. Yes, but cash is the king. Yes, and ask me in a big amount of the 187 countries around the world. Yes, where cash is the king. So perhaps if you see it from your point of view or for your experience, yes, you would say, well, we are very near. We have Venmo, and we have Apple Pay. We don't have Apple Pay. And we have Google Pay. We don't have Google Pay. And we have credit cards everywhere. And we have, okay. And we are already all doing by digital, but not in the world. In some parts of the world, perhaps for some, the relevant part of the world, yes, the important parts of the world. But actually, when I was answering that 10, 15, it's because my approach is more like, oh, we still need to move from cash to digital concepts, yes, and then go away from replacing the digital with Bitcoin. So from a global perspective, I think it's way longer the process, yes, beyond what's happening in Salvador or other places, no, but beyond that, I think it's at least 10 years, like, okay, let's say something near.
In the US, it could be less than 5 years, but it might not be Bitcoin. It might be digital credit cards. Moving on to issue 3. Nodes on Bitcoin Lightning Network double in 3 months. They said it couldn't happen. They got out their charts and they graphs, and they told us that the Lightning Network could never grow. It could never grow at a rate fast enough to support all the users that would need. But meanwhile, the Lightning Network out of nowhere has doubled the amount of nodes in 3 months. Rodolfo, your thoughts on the continued growth of the Lightning Network, the thing that they said never could happen, seems to be happening?
I think we are way short from what we need to be. Not actually in the size. I think we are scaling pretty cool, yes, but we're discussing about 1,800 Bitcoins. It's not even a whale. Yes, it's like a starting whale. But it's for small payments. So actually 1.8 of small payments is enough. It's not for moving millions of dollars, but yes, for small tradings and operations, yes. So I think it's a very good, it shows fairly well where we're heading to, yes, but we are way from the adoption I would expect. Yes, I've been using, I can't say eventually platforms that I've been using because they're not sponsors here. Yes, but I've been using one that allows me to create. When I was in US, I have no credit card, so I was using a platform that allows me to create on the fly a credit card just for paying online stuff in US, and I was using Lightning Network for payments like $800 also, Lightning Network, because it was very easy to do it and instantly. At much, it would cost me as much as in the Bitcoin network, no? So I was using it for fairly interesting payments, and it was an amazing experience. And I've been using the wallet that Jack suggests, not because it's being of Jack, but because it's Argentinian, the Moon wallet. And actually, I send Bitcoins there. I don't need to create any node of Lightning or anything, and I just pay. If it's a Lightning Network QR, it will pay in Lightning. If it's a Bitcoin QR, it will pay in Bitcoin. It's the easiest platform, and it makes it very easy. So I think that yet in my country or my correlatives, yes, I see few adoption of Lightning. I would expect a huge more adoption. So I guess that Lightning's growth is not about how much nodes there are or how much Bitcoins there are in it, but about how much people is willing to start trading, not trading, start paying and using Lightning. It's more about promotion or spreading the word than about its growth that we see in numbers. Yes, it should come before people having the needs of using Lightning as a way of paying stuff. No?
Well, I want to follow up on the question and just dunk once again on all the people who said it couldn't happen. Because I remember when they got out their graphs and their charts and they said, Lightning Network isn't growing fast enough and we should just give up. And they were wrong. It's growing. People are adding on new nodes. There was a great tweet this morning. I forget his name, but he's been tracking Lightning for a long time and setting up actual profitable nodes. And he said he was just able to make $30,000 this year, which, you know, isn't a lot to him. And, you know, is like half a salary to a lot of people in the US and such, but is a ton of money to someone in the developing world. And how the idea of making money running a Lightning node, you do have to configure it. There are options, there are things you have to know. It's not just plug and play, but it does seem to be possible, which is going to incentivize more nodes, which could lead to a mining situation where people have buildings full of nodes. I don't know where it ends, but the fact that people are being incentivized and that they're just choosing to add to the network for the good of the network continues to build this secondary layer on top of Bitcoin for small payments. And I agree with you. I think, you know, it's small payments now, but like you said, $800, $1,000, that's kind of a small payment soon. You know, for a lot of people, that's a ton of money, no doubt. That's, you know, you work very hard to earn that. But for the Bitcoin network, for the kind of thing that we're building, that could be very small. And pretty soon small payments could be $10,000 or $100,000 or something like that. So we do have that in the future.
Absolutely. Actually, it's not about the amount, because amount is related to the price of Bitcoin. It's about how many Satoshis are the fees related to the amount. Because if we are saying, yes, I'm moving 0.001 and it's $1 million, okay, but if the fees, which are not related to dollars, are related to size and Satoshis per byte, yes, that's what I mean. It's relevant. 800 is not relevant for many, for several of us, yes, but 800 in the Bitcoin protocol having to pay $30, well, 800 is a lot. Yes, if so, it's not about how much money it is, but about how many sats is against the fee of the sats. And so it's not a. I think that's the issue, and I really think that most things might go into Lightning also because of transparency, of privacy. Yes, but when we were discussing nodes, eventually also nodes will need a KYC of, I don't know, fuck.
Well, don't worry about that. We'll get to that when it happens. But yes, it's all about the Satoshis. And oh, how fun has it been to have that final little decimal place named Sats or named Satoshis after the creator Satoshi Nakamoto. A lot of people weren't sure about the name, or they weren't sure about if we need bits or bytes or whatever kind of decimal places that were confusing. But everyone getting down to the Sats, and then just hearing Satoshi, his name or her name or their name or whatever, said like 100,000 times. It's just fun. I think that's just a great little tribute.
It's novel. I think it's like a good. I mean, what's fun? What it's like the fun part of this is that finally the smallest decimal of Bitcoin becomes something relevant. I mean, not naming it Satoshi, no, because we could have named it Satoshi and no one ever used it. But the fun part is that we actively use this SAT as eventually every time more relevant element or asset. No, it's like SATs is what we are measuring Bitcoin payments. And also one of the nicest things, we always say that Bitcoin, we say Bitcoin is really like cash, no? But it needs to be a store of value. Yes, we all know Bitcoin is a store of value. It needs to be a user unit of account and a medium of transfer. No, this is like what money is. And every economist will say it's not a medium of account. Yes, but in the mining, Bitcoin is the unit of account. Yes, you don't care how much Bitcoin is priced. The unit of account is Bitcoin. Yes, and you're paying a certain amount of sats. So actually, the sat, the Satoshi, this, and I think of it being called like the creator. Yes, it's really the real moment in which Bitcoin is used in his full concept of currency. Yes, it's being a store of value, it's being used as a unit of account and as a medium of transfer of this value. So I think it's a huge, I don't know, recognition to Satoshi.
I could only imagine what Bitcoiners of the past would think if they transported here to the future and we told them that, yes, no one is trading or using Bitcoins anymore. And no one says buy Bitcoins with an S or I've got a lot of Bitcoins. That hardly ever happens. But now we're trading 8 digits down at Satoshis, and it's only been, about 10 years or so. It hasn't been that long. So it's exciting to see it move this fast. Let's move on to the exit question. Exit question, Rodolfo, when's the last time you used the Lightning Network? What did you buy? What wallet did you use? How did it go?
Today, I'm doing a contest for NFTs, yes, and I was trying to use Rare Toshi, and Rare Toshi is from Liquid, yes, so I had to get some liquid from Liquid BTC. I mean, I don't like to use things that are not BTC, so I'm not using the ones of Ethereum and all that. I was looking for one in where I could do it with BTC, and I could do it with Lightning, Bitcoin, or Liquid. Yes, so I used Lightning Network to send some bucks there and support one of my friends that are being artists there. So I did it today.
And
it was
how did it go? They got the sats. Did it go
perfectly
through?
well. Actually, I'm actively using Lightning Network. Yes, and it's amazing. It's great. It's great. I really enjoy it.
It's been a little while since I've used it. We need Ben to get back on here with all of his little gadgets. I'm pretty sure the last time I used it is to scan one of Ben's codes to make something pop up on the screen or blow smoke at him or something. But it went great. I used a wallet of Satoshi. It was cheap and fast. And you just got to learn. Again, I've always told people, it was like, you need to learn how to use email back in the day, even though you had no one to email. You need to learn how to use your Bitcoin wallet now. If you have a familiarity with scanning QR codes, entering in amounts, sending digital currency, you're ahead of, I don't know, 80% of the world. You're way far ahead, even if you just understand that little thing and can teach people that. You can teach people how to use wallets.
But the good thing is these new wallets that makes you not needing to understand about Lightning. I've been using Blue Wallet, for example, yes? And in Blue Wallet, you have Bitcoin and you have Lightning. Why? I mean, why it's comprehensible, but I mean, that kind of complexity of having Bitcoin or Lightning, yes, needs to be removed. And most of them, I think wallets of Satoshi also have Bitcoin and Lightning. So when you start using things like Moon, for example, you just forget about that. You have Bitcoins. If you need to do a payment through Lightning, you will go through Lightning. If you go to, so actually what we need to do is not needing to learn. It's just use it. It's wallets are send and receive. That's all you need to know. Send and receive. Yes, and scanning a QR, well, no, scanning a QR, but making, if it's Bitcoin or Lightning, what are you paying? That's an additional complexity. I think that we will move on to wallets where you don't even need to discuss this, and you will do the easiest and most logic payment, and either in Lightning or in Bitcoin, according to the one who's asking you the money, but not to the one who's paying the money.
We've always said all the complexity would be worked out, and you certainly wouldn't have to run a node or configure your mobile wallet to your node. That was all early hobbyist behavior where we were having fun and we were getting ahead of the curve using that network. I agree with you. I think it's going to be send, receive, super easy. Everyone will have a wallet. They won't even know if it's Bitcoin, Lightning, Lightning 2, Liquid, whatever it is. They'll just use it like electronic money.
Yep.
Moving on to the next issue. Check out WCN Clips on YouTube. Just Google WCN Clips. Check out all the amazing clips from this show and other shows on the World Crypto Network. You could even share them with your friends at WCN Clips on YouTube. It's also a great time for everyone to give us a thumbs up. We've got about 36 people watching on YouTube. If everyone would just reach down and give us a thumbs up, I'll bet we could get 40 people watching. No problem. Moving on to issue 4. Issue 4. Bitcoin's biggest corporate investor in posts $299 million loss after crypto crash. But billionaire CEO says he's not backing down. MicroStrategy, which, as we discussed earlier, owns more Bitcoin than any other corporation in the world, posted its biggest loss ever Thursday as a result of the cryptocurrency's massive crash last quarter. But the company's longtime CEO says the company will continue buying more of the volatile asset amid strong support from institutional investors. Rodolfo, we've talked about Michael Saylor before. We've always said this was coming. There would be a point where the board came to him with pitchforks and said, "What are you doing with our money?" I don't think we're quite there yet, but we are starting to see signs of Michael Saylor's position in his company. How long do you think he continue? Will the board remove Saylor and force them to sell their Bitcoin?
I think of Saylor as a laserite. Yes, he really is laserized. But you raise a point. I mean, will they remove him from the board? I mean, eventually these things happen and can happen. I don't know. It's one of my concerns. I mean, it's not. It's like Elon. Who cares what Elon says? Well, the market, but I don't. Well, but the market does. Yes, well, but the market will feed themselves. Will find again the road after the impact of what Elon says. And actually, it's kind of the same. Who cares what Saylor says. We all do. Yeah, but me, I really think in Bitcoin, not because of Saylor says of Bitcoin, but me, not the institutional investors. No? Perhaps not the ones who are keeping it at 40. But I'm always concerned about how much of our trust is being placed on people and companies instead of what makes Bitcoin probably, the sole real scarce asset in the world for the near future. Yes. So if you're really into that, I don't know what happens to MicroStrategy or to Saylor. It's just a stone in the road, yes, or something that you think it will eventually outcome as you expect. If you don't believe that Bitcoin will survive any of those things, then why are you Bitcoin? I mean, okay, if you're just for the money, okay, yes, but if you don't believe that government will attack, but we will survive attacking, that big investors will invest and they will be pushed or somehow decide then to uninvest. If you don't expect big players to say, hey, and then say no, I mean, this should happen, this will happen. But if you don't realize that these things will happen, then you're watching a different movie. Yes, might happen with Saylor. I don't know. I guess it won't happen with Grayscale, for example. Yes, because Grayscale is himself. I guess it's different. Yes, Grayscale is 100%. Yes, but it's 100% Bitcoin. Yes, while MicroStrategy is a plural platform of investments. Yes, so eventually Grayscale could disappear, but I guess they won't change him for another one, start selling and doing another stuff. I don't know. I see you doing like this. So I don't know. But I think I don't see a near future with this might occur. But if Bitcoin goes back to 12, who knows? One of the things I read in an article recently, I guess the one you shared to me, is that he was looking for 500 and he got to 1.5 billion, yes, for the next round. And it was when it went down to 33. So if it goes down to 12, and he says, no, but I still need to buy, perhaps it's 5 billion, but I don't know. Bitcoin is this strange. When it goes up, everyone goes to buy. When it goes down, everyone is. And Simon says, yes, well, let's buy, but it's going down the trend. So I don't know. I think that it might occur. I hope that the real whales, but Bitcoin whales, no institutional whales, no investment whales, no Bitcoin individual whales, yes, that are believers of this, we just stay and keep believing, and the price is just a moment in the Bitcoin's life.
I think there's a very interesting disconnect in demand where somehow the information about Bitcoin got muddled. We had all those periods where it was a Ponzi scheme and it was just for Silk Road people and it was terrorist money or it used too much energy, whatever they're going to say. And it got muddled, right? And all the people and normal people, business people, all the kind of people that should be buying Bitcoin aren't buying Bitcoin and they aren't valuing it. And they aren't saying, just like they would say with an NFT, there's like, wow, there's only 21 million of these NFTs. You know, that means not that many people can get one, that kind of thing. They're not saying that with Bitcoin yet, but Michael Saylor was. Michael Saylor and his company went hard. They went heavy into Bitcoin with the idea being that they had the information and they were ahead of all these people and that all these people would naturally follow. So now the question is, how long can Saylor and his crew hold out before the rest of these people wake up to what we as Bitcoiners already know, how incredibly valuable these things are, how little we have of them, how desperately we're trying to hold on to what we have. And, you know, it's different. Again, Elon claims he's a holder or a hodler or whatever, and he has billions of dollars. You know, he's not hodling anything. He's doing what he wants to do. It's that guy that's working at McDonald's, that guy that's working in construction, that's holding on to his couple $100 in Bitcoin. That guy's a hodler. That guy is fighting it out. And every coffee he skips and every decision not to buy a magazine or whatever, to go to the library, save some money, whatever you got to do, everything he does there, that guy is saving and hodling. So It's just a question of time. Will his board hold out when all those people come, or will they be this incredible story where they were too early and they had the right strategy? They had the buy Bitcoin and hold it strategy. And they told us, they had all these meetings and the websites and the information and everything, but it could still go down. So I think it's an exciting period.
I think, Tom, that one of the things that for sure happens is history. Yes. Investing into, I started in 2011. I don't remember. We talked about this, but I don't remember when it started. But 2011, yes. And I always say, people ask you when you start, yes. And oh yes, you start when we're doing both at 10 or at 20. It's not about when you start, but how many times you stayed. Yes, it's what you went through, not when you started, because much people bought at 10 and sold at 12 or 20%. Yes, so it's not when you start. It's not at what price you bought, but it's what you went through during all that time. Yes, so history explains you about what you might go through. It's not the truth, it's just history, but it's something which you create your truth. Yes, and as everything in value, yes, it's the expected utility, the expected cost, and how much you add of trust in these expectations. Why you expect it to go up, or you expect it to go down, or you expect to spend something, and there's always trust in the middle. That's why Bitcoin is so important. We're changing the way we create trust. No, this is blockchain and all this stuff. So history is relevant, and these investors that are coming today, they have 12 years of history. Yes, and history shows that Bitcoin does huge movements. So if you introduce your board about Bitcoin, going into Bitcoin, and you introduce them about the past, and yet you talk to them that it might go to 80% down, but we're doing this huge investment because in the long term, 200%, and we are, when you invest, I actually think like this, when you invest in a company, yes, and you put $2 million in a company, a VC, $10 million in a company, eventually at 5 years later, it turns out that it fades. Okay, you lost the 5 million, yes, but you wait 5 years to see if it really multiplies 12, 300, 400 times. So in Bitcoin, we haven't seen 5 years of downtrends, of downtrends, yes, and it's just about wait, wait, hold, yes, okay, it's a bad moment. Okay, it goes down, down, down. And we have quarters that we have to show, oh, we're going down, 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 down. But let's hold, because we're doing an investment for 5, 10, 15. So it has to do with the scope you put and understanding which are the risks in the middle of that scope. I'm sure that if they study the past, they are ready for what might come about the prices, yes, and they expect, because that's how they create their trust, you know, they believe based on the past that they expect that in 5 years between halving and halving, yes, prices tend to go up. So I wouldn't be so concerned. It's like a different kind of asset. They need to understand they are a different kind of asset. They need to look back and look and put their side of what future they expect. No, we have no reasons yet to believe that Bitcoin in the future won't be more valuable than Bitcoin in the past. Yes.
I just hope that Michael Saylor and his board have better advisors than Elon Musk, because we all saw what happened to Elon Musk. It seems like they did no information, no study of Bitcoin, decided to accept it. A couple weeks later, it got a little warm. The environmental pressures, maybe they're dependent on government subsidies, so they have to clean up their act.
Yes, it's a different discussion.
Bitcoin, but still, they've got to do that research. They got to know when they go in, like you're saying, if it's a 5-year investment, if it's 10-year investment, they could lose 80% of their money. Yet if they wait for the halving, if they wait till, I don't know, 2 years after the halving, whatever it's going to be, which is really hard to say. It sounds like I sound like a con man. I'm like, just wait 2 more years and we'll send you the product. Just wait 2 more years. The product is coming along, you know?
Yes, but there are reasons for this. This is not just a con, man. It's like you study and you understand that even though we have, like people in the chat were saying, we will have CDBCs and that one we will be pushed towards everyone. Yes, we will have the CDBCs and that will be the digital currency most people will be using. Yes. But even though CDBCs, even though PayPal, even though you understand that Bitcoin will be the only real scarce asset in the world. Yes. So and manipulable and all the stuff. Yes. So when you understand those things, it's not about conning, man. It's about believing in stuff beyond the just expectations it will go up. No, why it will go up? Because it will still be, because we will have CDBCs. But that's bad. No, that's good, because CDBCs will fail, will be abused, will show that it's the same as digital currency. So I think it's believing in stuff. Yes. And so I foresee
it's also like you say, it's a lot based on charts and past performance and the incredible ability of humans to predict future performance with past performance based upon math. I don't know that much about this, but I read the book Moneyball and I saw the movie, and I know that they can tell that baseball players are good because they're good in the past. So if Michael Saylor and his crew are looking at Bitcoin, and like you say, now, as in the past, we were like brand new and we were like, it's so new. But now for these guys, they have 10 years, they have 12 years, they have this record they can look back on, and they can say, well, if it does this, then it'll do that. And they can use all their fancy math and hopefully come to the conclusion they should hold and see how it goes.
Yeah. I mean, time will say, always time will say, yes. But I don't see reasons. I don't see anything in the future that might prevail that Bitcoin keeps being the most secure and certain scarce asset. Yes, it's not about scarce, because I don't know if you remember. You remember when back then, 2011, eventually 12, we had the 42 coin. There was a coin which
remember was 42 coin. They had just 42. There was also a great one called OneCoin, not the famous one.
No, I'm going,
but like ONE, where there was just one coin. So if you had like a 0.1 of one coin, you had 10% of the market.
So it's never about scarcity. Yes, scarcity, it's something needed to have value, but it's not because of being scarce or more scarce it will have more value. Yes, it has to do with adoption, with people willing to have it. No, so but beyond that, we might have other assets that become more scarce than Bitcoin. Yeah, it's not easy even to create them. Yes, but as other assets in which we can trust that the scarcity won't be manipulated, only Bitcoin. Today, for me, only Bitcoin. Not even Ethereum. Not even Ethereum changing their mining and making destroying coins in the future. I mean, I don't care. It's not if it will become more scarce in the future. No. If is the amount expected can't be, or if the promise of which scarcity or which scarcity model is being offered by others will be respected in the future. Yes. So that's in what I believe that's only Bitcoin. Yes. I don't care how many others are there. I don't care if Polkadot is the wallet, the blockchain of the blockchains. And if you think, I don't care, because that's not the thing I make to believe who prevails in the future. What prevails in the future is the most trustable assets. Yes. And I only foresee the real trust, yes, on the Bitcoin way of solving the evolution of the protocol. So I don't know. I that's what I see. I don't think anything around changing it. Obviously, not the CDBCs. CDBCs is the opposite. Is let's print as many as we need. Yes. So why should I be concerned? Actually, I'm like, okay, let's move more people, more Argentinians that don't have digital cash. Oh, let's move them into digital cash. Then they will I think I think I said it the other time with you. It's like a fight, yes, and we will see a geoeconomical fight among CDBCs. It will make different currencies more accessible to anyone in the world. Yes, today US is the #1 currency accessible to anyone. But if I would like to have Swiss francs, it's not as easy. If I would like to have yuans, it's not as easy. Now it will be easy. Yes, so I guess it will be a fight for them, not against Bitcoin, for them. And the debris of this fight will be the nurture, the food, yes, of this nice turtle that is called Bitcoin that slowly moves towards its goal of becoming the #1 reserve. So really, if I were a sailor, I would be seeing the same movie.
Well, never forget.
There is an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve.
Oh, an infinite amount of cash at the Federal Reserve. That's a lot. But let's move on to the exit question. Pick one. Which one of the Bitcoin CEOs, for lack of a better word, will be the most successful? Jack Dorsey with Twitter, Michael Saylor with MicroStrategy, or Elon Musk, who isn't sure that he likes Bitcoin, but says that SpaceX and Tesla own a lot of it. Choose your Bitcoin CEO. Go ahead, Rodolfo.
I would like it to be. I would like it to be Jack. I think it will be, or it should be Saylor. Jack is more because of the fight. I think Saylor is more because of the aspects and the possibilities it brings for investment and stuff like that. No, and Elon, I care. I don't care.
Yes, I think it's much easier for Saylor to succeed. All he has to do is hold on to that Bitcoin till it's worth more than what he paid for it, sell it for more, and he's a hero to the board, right? It's pretty simple. He's got a simple job. I'm rooting for Jack though too. I really like what he's doing with Twitter, expanding into spaces, expanding into, I think, a lot of other new projects they'll be launching this year. And it's becoming quite a nice communications tool. It has parts of it that are similar to Instagram or Facebook. It has aspects of kind of everything, Clubhouse, other software, and it's really coming together. And Jack seems to have the right ideas. I don't know if he's going to quite let it loose, let Twitter become a protocol, especially with all the negative information and misinformation and things that such a thing could be used for. So we're probably going to continue to go back and forth on privacy and those kind of issues. But as far as somebody that's taking Bitcoin, real Bitcoin, refusing all the others and hooking it up to the infrastructure of what his business does. This isn't Facebook with Libra or whatever they changed the name to as a subsidiary or a side thing. Straight into Twitter, straight into Square Cash, straight into Cash App. Jack Dorsey is using Bitcoin and he's using real Bitcoin. So we're rooting for Jack. And yeah. What about Elon? I don't know. Those are some nice cars, though. Still nice cars. Moving on to issue 5. Bitcoin accumulation accelerates amongst whales, fish, while Bitcoin rallies to $40,000. This is just on-chain sentiment, though, Cointelegraph says. The big question is, how does this relate to price action in general? The price of Bitcoin has risen from $30,000 to over $40,000, perhaps continuing the long-term bullish setup. Many have been talking about the stock to flow level, and stock to flow seems like it's bounced, still in the range. Perhaps we're still going to $150,000 or $200,000 a Bitcoin. Everyone wants it to go up. Everyone's buying. Rodolfo, are the bulls back? Are we going nothing but up? Was that it? Was that the drop? Or is there more pain in the future? Your thoughts on the price of Bitcoin?
I'm terrible about doing price predictions. I'm terrible about doing them, terrible about playing them. so I don't know. I don't think we've seen all. No, I think it will keep moving up and down. No, I even still believe that it might go below 30 in the near future, but I don't know. I actually don't understand why it went to 40. Yes, so it's like and why it's happening? Yeah, because it got the B word and but really, I don't know. I really don't care that much. Anyway, that's because I don't spend money time into this kind of stuff. But I really I never been that good about making money. Yes. And when I always see these ways that they're raising more and more, I like, wow, congratulations. Because I could be raising more and more, and I never do so. It's just like, man, I go with the wave. But I see them and these fishes and the ways that they're doing investment and trying to win the market, and I'm glad if they achieve it. But anyway, waste is not a good. I don't see waste like a good thing. Yes, I see waste like sometimes like a risk also. Not only like a good thing. So it's now that the waves are getting bigger, we are more secure. No, why a whale should be more secure? Oh, because they're really hodlers. But if they're hodlers that are playing the market, why should we be more secure having whales? It's like, no, they're paying the market and they want to get more. And getting more will make it eventually try to dump and try to get more. And so I would prefer not big whales. I would prefer that always more spread. But I see them and say, oh, great for them. But I don't think it's a good thing for the ecosystem in general.
I agree, Rodolfo. I'm not great at picking the market either. In fact, I've often thought I should publish a list of when I buy or sell so that people could do the opposite.
Me too.
Yeah. Because, and also for me, it's always like, I'm just so in favor of Bitcoin. I just think it's such a good idea. I thought it was a good idea in the beginning. I think it's a good idea now. I just want to see it get where it's going. So anytime it goes up, I think we're going to the moon. Anytime it goes down, I'm worried. I think it's all falling apart, but we'll still be fine. We just got to wait longer. So it's good to be out of one of those downtrends. Like you're saying, it feels better to be in an uptrend. Just has that good feeling to it. I don't know if this is the one. Like everyone else, I've been watching the Plan B Twitter to see what the new stock to flow model will teach us about Bitcoin. But a long time ago, I learned that there were only 21 million Bitcoin, and that's pretty rare. So it would be pretty neat to get your hands on one of those. So we'll have to see on the price. But unfortunately for you, Rodolfo, you and I are both going to have to pick against the Bitcoin predictor ball, the greatest prognosticator of prognosticator, the seer of seers. This truly has all of the answers. So Rodolfo, just one question for the exit question: higher or lower this time next week? Which direction are you going?
No, higher.
Rodolfo says higher. I'll just follow. I'll join Rodolfo. I usually say higher now. The ball, will the price of Bitcoin be higher this time next week? Here we go. Shaking the ball could cause bubbles. You want to be careful. Here we go. It is certain. It is certain. So there we go. Plan B, the ball, Rodolfo and I, everybody on the same page for once. We did it. And we're also reaching the end of the show. So Rodolfo, do you have a prediction or a story of the week? Anything you'd like to tell the people about what you're up to? What's going on?
No, I wanted to share. There is a very nice video. Last time I shared a video, it was nice. I think this is even nicer. Very nice video about Elon, about going to the moon and stuff like that. If you're able to share it, I think people will really enjoy it.
All right, here we go. We're getting ready for the video from Law BitConf. It says holders to Mars. Let's see here. Sorry, everybody, a little loud.
We're not listening anything. There is no sound.
Oh, I can hear it. And these are amazing.
What do you see?
Wow, fantastic video, Rodolfo. Really came out good, man.
Thank you. Well, that's what we think about Dylan.
But that was great to see him there, and just yeah, hilarious, man. I love the part at the end with a pizza on his mask, and even reminded me of the show I'm watching now, For All Mankind, the great show about space.
It's very good. I need
love
to
it.
finish the second temporada.
Second season. Yeah, I'm just starting. I'm way behind. But the minute I heard it was by Ron Moore, who did Battlestar Galactica and DS9, I was like, oh, I'm sold. I'm in. Like, and then it was the 60s and the space race and a little bit of twists and turns.
Nice. It's a very nice show. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, we're now doing another one for announcing where we might host the next conference, and it's very shorter, way shorter, but also very nice and this high quality.
Well, and what can you tell the people about Law BitConf? Where can they learn more, and what's happening? Do you have any information? Go ahead.
The BitConf has always been since 2013 like the #1 event in Latin America. Yes, for Latin Americans to have access to the big speakers in the space, they usually all come down to our conferences in wherever country we do it, and also for international people to do business down in Latin America. No? And this year we were doing it on Mars. As you see, all these videos were about us doing it on Mars. But finally, we are changing eventually to El Salvador near to the end of the year in person because of Salvador's announcement, no? Obviously. So this is yet to be fully confirmed, yes, but it's the main idea. If we are unable to do it, yes, if for any reason we're not doing it, we might be doing it anyway, again, online. But this time, last year we did it on the moon, yes. This year we will be doing it from Mars, yes. But you could expect very good news from the BitCons because we're joining forces with several other people if we are doing this in El Salvador. So it will be like a wow thing.
Well, it sounds fantastic. And it's always great to have you on, Rodolfo, because I think one of the first Bitcoin videos I saw was Andreas Antonopoulos, and I think he was speaking from Law BitConf. It had the big Bitcoin letters on the stage, and I was just blown away by what he was saying and how he was saying and everything about it. It was just great.
Actually, you know, now we talk about Sailor, and just for closing, no, I think that Satoshi was like the main leader for bringing in the developers, yes, and the first believers in what is being built. I think that Andreas became like the main leader about bringing in believers, people into the space. Yes, this first big play. People, big hodlers, creating hodlers into the space. Yes, and now I see Sailor like the main institutional driver, yes, of the space. Eventually, I would have expected that sometime later we would see some country or some bank or something driving them into this. Somehow it might occur with El Salvador, yes. So I think things are moving pretty fast, yes, because the time between Satoshi and Andreas, and between Andreas and Sailor, and now Sailor and El Salvador, it's like very huge, very quick. But I think that some people plays relevant roles in this, and it's like an evolution. Then we go from here to government, then we go from here to people, and then we go. And yes, Andreas has been supporting the Bitcoin since the beginning. Since actually, it was one of his first talks, the one he did 2013 in Buenos Aires.
Well, it's fantastic work and it's excellent stuff. It's great to see it passed from Sailor or from Andreas to Sailor and then on. I think that goes a little bit into my prediction. A lot of people have been talking about it recently. The companies denied it, even though they're hiring people. But I want to go ahead and predict Amazon will accept Bitcoin. Maybe this will be, as Rodolfo is saying, the next thing to push it, not just a government or a person like Sailor or Andreas, but Amazon. Jeff Bezos is gone. There's a new CEO. They need to differentiate themselves. Getting into Bitcoin and Lightning would be a great way to do it. That's not saying they're ready yet. It could still take 3 years. They're going to write all their code. They're going to have all their ducks in a row. But when they get into it, global, worldwide, and it could be a tax collection problem for all of the legacy countries and the old system. So it'll be fun to see whoever runs Amazon now, if they do this, as I'm predicting, it'll be fun to see. And it'll be another exciting moment in Bitcoin. Shout out to Josh and Ben and Dan, the Crypto Raptor, and Chris and Rita and everybody else who's at Majorca Blockchain Days. Apparently there's a small island off the coast of Spain called Majorca, and that's where everyone is this week. So if you guys are looking for all the other panelists, maybe you're hanging out with them in Spain, just off the coast of the continent there at Majorca Blockchain Days. So shout out to those guys. Hope they're having a great time at the convention. Shout out to Chris, who's running the show out there, and everybody else who's working on the convention. So great stuff to have conferences happening again. Hopefully everybody's staying safe and all that. But that's about it for the show. Be sure to give us a thumbs up down below. Push subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you, Rodolfo, for being our guest today.
Thank you for inviting.
And that's about it. Until next time, bye-bye.